Oh, you're watching Kel67 Gaming, and Big Fat Man's just been, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has indeed.
Which means it's time for Christmas haul.
Now, obviously, with it being a Christmas haul, it's probably a bit bigger.
There's always a good amount of stuff that we get around about Christmas. And actually, for the past few years, I think you've had a new console month as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I think it has been.
What do you reckon the odds are in you having another one this year round?
Quite high.
Aye.
Quite high. But to start off, it's not a console, it is a game. But for the PlayStation 5, it is Resident Evil Village. Now, this is the 8th mainline game, and it is a continuation of Biohazard, a 7 story.
Biohazard is 1?
No.
Yes, it is.
Resident Evil Biohazard is 7.
No, Biohazard is 1, then there's Biohazard 2, Biohazard 3, Biohazard 4, Biohazard 5.
Resident Evil 7 was called Biohazard, if you can't remember.
No, Biohazard 7 was called Resident Evil 7.
No.
Get it right. It's a Japanese game, it's called Biohazard.
Not the 7th one, it was always... Because then, would this one be called Village Resident Evil?
No, it's called Village Biohazard. Right? Just over here that they changed the name.
Well, I'm going off the name when it's been changed.
It's
right?
Biohazard.
But it follows on Ethan's story. And on the front there, obviously you can see, that is actually not Ethan, it is Chris Redfield.
Exactly.
Yeah, and to the right of him is a lichen, which is one of the most common enemies in the game. And I actually have played quite a bit of it since getting it.
You did want it, didn't you?
Yeah, and I can say that is an absolutely amazing game. So, and when I'm done, I'm guessing you'll probably want to have a go.
Well, I don't know. I didn't really get into 7 as much as I wanted to, but you never know.
That's always there.
There's a couple of miscellaneous things that we got. This is one of them. This, because we didn't actually have one, a Pro Controller for the Wii U. Don't know why we never had one, but we've got that one now. I have to say, don't like the layout of it with the 2 sticks at the top.
Well, it's a bit like the actual Wii U gamepad though, isn't it? Where there's the
well,
2
it is,
sticks
but
at the top.
Because you're playing it with a controller, it just feels wrong. I keep thinking that and see, I don't know what they are on Nintendo, so this also confuses the hell out of me for quick time events. But what is the triangle button on here? Feels like it should be this, like the square. Do you know
It's weird for you, but
it's in the wrong place, is what I'm saying.
I guess if you played Nintendo quite a lot, it would make a bit more sense.
But it's in the wrong place.
But there you go. Next up for the Sega Mega Drive, this is Splatter House 2. Now this is obviously the side-scrolling beat 'em up, but obviously the second one. I believe I played the first one on the Evercade.
Nope, if you didn't.
Did I not? What was this, 2?
2 and 3's on the Evercade.
I probably played 2 then. I knew that I played one of them and I did quite enjoy it. Even though obviously it's quite unforgiving as retro games typically are. But
aye.
That is.
They're not very long, so they have to be hard.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. But,
gotta get you enjoyment.
It's always nice to get a Mega Drive game, and Splat House is not a bad one. Another bit of miscellany. This is still in the box, so you didn't have to pull it out yet. But this is better N64 controllers. So if I pull one out, oh, it's all wrapped up. You'll see that essentially it's like a GameCube controller, but it's for the N64. So it should make N64s much more accessible, especially for you, because you just don't play N64 at all. And it would make it better for me because I don't like the N64 3-prong joystick.
Now, remember when we said that's probably a high probability of a new console month? Well, here is one, and it is the Evercade Versus. Now, this is the start of...
Is it versus or is it VS?
Well,
or does it matter?
I don't think it really matters, really. But it is the console where obviously you can play 2 players. It's on your screen and everything.
I love the original Evercade, the handheld one. And this is obviously the next evolution of that, and you get to play
arcade games and...
Well, you get to play all the same games.
Yeah.
But you play them multiplayer because you can get 4 players plugged into the front, which makes a huge difference, I guess.
And if I remember correctly, you also get to put 2 games in the Evercade at once as well. Unlike the portable version, which obviously means like you've got more games to choose for.
Speaking of many consoles, got this one too. This is the Neo Geo Mini, of course, with the control pad, because no one wants to use this mess here. It's too small, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit too small.
But playing it with a proper Neo Geo pad, much better.
Especially once you've linked it with the TV as well.
Yes. And obviously Neo Geo, just a brilliant, brilliant machine, which no one could afford at the time, but well, no one could persuade their parents to buy back in the 90s. But we're discovering the library of games. You especially like Metal Slug, don't you?
Yes, obviously I start playing
Super Sidekicks is the way to go.
Well, they're both on there, so...
Yeah.
Next up is one of the games which I believe was with the Evercade Versus, is the Data East Arcade Collection 1.
So what's the main games on here then?
Well, you've got Burger Time, which obviously...
Slice by there, that's a brilliant game.
So you've got Bad Dudes versus Dragon Ninja, you've got Gator Doom, Wizard Fire, Breakthrough, Tumble Pop, Darwin, 4070, Slice by, Chain Reaction, Lock and Chase, and obviously Burger Time. They're your 10 games that you actually get on it. And obviously, as I said, when showing the Evercade, you can put 2 games in.
And these are all arcade versions,
yes,
not the
these
home
are
console
the
ports.
arcade versions. And obviously not all of them were on the Data East normal Evercade ones.
So they went because the Data East, the other Data East one that we've got, that's the home ports, isn't it?
Yes, but obviously both have Burger Time on them as well.
Got to get more Evercade stuff because I do genuinely love the Evercade. It's one of my favourite consoles of recent times. This one is Worms. It's just got the 3 games on it. It's got the original, Armageddon, and Blast. Blast is crap. Armageddon's good, and the first one is absolutely brilliant. First one, PS1, or better still, old school, playing it on a LAN party on PCs. Loved that back in the day. Oh, we had like a PC set up in each corner of the room, and multiplayer was just awesome.
Well, now obviously you can play multiplayer on the Evercade.
But you see, this was the thing, because you were playing it to 2 different PCs. You weren't both playing it on the same one.
Yeah. Next up is the other game that was included on the Evercade Versus. This is the Technos Arcade 1. And the games that come on this is Mysterious Stones, Blockout, Combat Tribes, Double Dragon 2 The Revenge, Double Dragon 3, The Rosetta Stone, Mania Challenge, Minky Monkey, Battle Lane Volume 5.
And again, this is arcade versions and not the home ports, because I think on one of the other Evercade carts that we've already got,
you would get Double Dragon
2 and 3.
Yeah.
But this is the arcade ports and not the home ports.
Yeah.
Another Evercade game. This is an arcade game. This is Gilco Collection. There's 6 games on here. What we've got here: Alligator Hunt, Thunderloop, World Rally, Biochemical Toy, Glass and Snowboard Championship. Be honest, I don't know a huge amount about any of those.
But they could be really good though.
But old school arcade games are brilliant. I mean, when we got your Pandora box, how many did we play that we'd never heard that we really enjoyed?
Oh, absolutely loads.
So this will be good to get into and have a try at.
Now this may not be the arcade cartridge, but it is the home console one. This is the Bitmap Brothers Collection 1 for the arcade.
Say home console. Amiga games these.
Well, it's not an arcade version, so is it?
Well, they're not all Amiga games.
So.
I think a couple are. You've got a PS1 game there, and
Yes, the games that include are Speedball, Xenon 2 Mega Blast, Speedball 2 Brutal Deluxe, the Chaos Engine, and Speedball 2100.
The Chaos Engine's the one that you're going to want to play on that, I'm telling you. Absolutely
Well,
awesome.
you're going to be wanting to play all of them though, aren't you?
Well, at some point, yeah. Picked up, this kind of ticks everyone's boxes here because you like anime stuff, I like PSP. This is some Japanese PSP stuff here. We've got Phantasy Star Portable, and it is the Japanese version. Phantasy Star was the flagship Sega RPG franchise. I've never actually played this one. I don't know how good it'll be. I know the Japanese PSP games work on a PAL PSP, but I'm going to guess on an RPG it's going to be quite difficult to read the text.
Well,
Unless there's an English option there somewhere, which is unlikely.
now to go with the Phantasy Star Portable, we do have the second one, again on PSP, which obviously is quite good for when you're on the go playing, because it is a really good console play. Obviously, you play it quite a lot more than me. However, it does obviously follow up on Phantasy Star Portable 1, and I think obviously once at least one of us have played it, we're going to probably move on, aren't we?
Probably. What else have we got here? This is one that's more for you. This is SD Gundam G Generation World. This is pure anime, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'll be some kind of fighting game. Gundam, is that? Is that like mechs fighting or something like that?
It does include mechs fighting and that, but to be honest, I don't believe I watched much of Gundam, but I'm guessing obviously it's going to be probably an amazing game to play once again on the PSP.
Find out soon enough, I guess.
Yep. Next up for the PlayStation 5, this is Deathloop. Now this is a Bethesda game. Now, however, it is a one where it's you're in a first person shooter obviously, but you're a assassin, I believe, and you're in somewhat of a time loop, but you've also got another rival assassin who is not only hunting down the target, but you as well, so you kind of have to do your strategy and keep going, and you have to
It's an FPS, isn't it?
pretty much, but that's what I like. Obviously, you don't.
It's an FPS with a convoluted story. That's all you needed to say. Another one here that's going to be probably more for you. It's another Gundam game. I'll be honest, I don't know the exact title of this, but it is another Japanese Gundam game on the PSP. More of the same. On the front, they look like Transformers. Gundam's completely separate to Transformers, isn't it?
I believe so.
But it looks. I mean, if you look at the.
Yeah, but they're mechs and that, so yeah.
Well, and it's got a thing on the back. It seems to suggest that you can link 4 PSPs together to play this one. Not entirely sure how that works.
It'd be quite interesting to try and figure that out, I guess, if you were to. But next up, again for the PSP, this is Monster Hunter Portable 2nd G. We played a few Monster Hunter games and quite.
I've played a couple. I played World, and I've played Try, and I've played. There was one on the PSP that I can't remember the name of it. But Monster Hunter's alright.
Monster Hunters are quite fun to play in that, so I guess once we get around to obviously playing it, it'll be quite some good fun.
Another mini console. This one is the Core Graphics PC Engine Mini, which has got not just PC Engine games on it, and there's quite a lot on there, but also has TurboGrafx 16 games. So that'll be the US versions of these, and I believe that it's the same games, but the US versions were easier. So if you're stuck on the PC Engine version, you can play the US version.
Next up again is another one for the new console month. This is the Nintendo Entertainment System, also known obviously as the NES. And we have tried it on, obviously played a few games on it, and obviously Mario 1, we've tried some of the WWF games and that, but it is obviously a retro console which would never actually have.
As like a companion piece, we've got a classic N, which is an NES, but with an HDMI out. But you obviously use like the same controllers and what have you, so that just is something that's a little easier to hook up to a modern TV. Although actually the NES isn't too bad because it's got AV to connect to a modern flat screen.
Next up for the NES is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now obviously it's cartridge only, without the box. And is this the one where it's a beat 'em up?
It's like a side-scrolling platformer, beat 'em up thing, something like that. A game that you had on one of those Evercade collections, you've managed to get it twice. Because look, on the NES, Bad Dudes vs Dragon Ninja, that's definitely a side-scrolling beat 'em up. And one that I think is quite fondly remembered. So you can have a go through that on your new, or I say new to you, NES console.
Next up is Nintendo World Cup. This is obviously a football game.
Got this on the Game Boy, actually, and I quite like it on the Game Boy. But there's not very many football games on the Game Boy, so maybe it doesn't play so well on a proper console.
I guess you never know until you've actually tried and played it.
Again, for your NES, this one is Shake, Rattle and Roll. Be absolutely honest with you here, I've got no idea what the Shake, Rattle and Roll is, and I don't think we've tried this one out yet.
No, we haven't.
I don't know if it's a platformer or a puzzle, or I mean it could be literally anything, but I guess at some point we'll try it out and we'll see what it is.
Next up is Tecma's Shadow Warriors. However, the box art looks a bit familiar to me.
Does it?
Is it Shinobi that looks similar to it?
Oh, there's every chance that it's a complete Shinobi rip-off.
Yes.
Shinobi was a big title for Sega at the time, which means that Nintendo didn't get Shinobi. Therefore, in the same way as Golden Axe Warrior was Zelda, this could be Shinobi.
But labelled Shadow Warriors.
Well, yeah. Licensed game here. This one is WWF Wrestlemania Challenge. If I remember rightly, this is the one where you got like an isometric view, and it doesn't play well, but it plays much better than the original WrestleMania game, I think. But obviously until we have a proper go of it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is the isometric one though.
Next up is one that I believe pretty much everyone will recognise. This is Super Mario Bros. And the Duck Hunt, I guess multi-cartridge you could call it, obviously.
Yeah. The one thing that we can't do with that HDMI thing is make this work
for Duck Hunt
on a modern flat screen TV. Going to have to crack out the CRT if you want to play Duck Hunt.
Well, obviously there'll probably be a time where we do want to play it, but it's a thing that obviously we do have the correct thing to play it on.
And another NES game you've done well, getting some NES collection immediately after getting your console. This one is Terminator 2. I don't remember this being that big a game at the time. The film was huge, but I don't really remember the game. Although it may be that this, obviously by the time Terminator 2 came out here in Europe, we all had Mega Drives. We were playing 16-bit. It was only in America that when Nintendo was king that they were 2 years away from getting 16-bit machines.
Next up for the NES is the NES Cleaning Kit. Now this is obviously to make it so that
it cleans the contacts inside your
pretty much it's just so
Nintendo.
that you get you don't have to continuously
I'm really pleased to get that. It'll stick a little bit of call it? Ethyl alcohol. What is it you call it? Isopropyl on there and clean up the connection.
Yeah.
And that'll keep the NES working hopefully longer than it would normally. This one I was really pleased to see. It is an NES game, but the cart's very different. This one is a Tengen one. It's a Tengen Gauntlet, and it did come in the box with the manual and all that gubbins. Really, really pleased with that, because Gauntlet's a game that I loved in the arcade, and I haven't ever actually seen in the flesh one of these Tengen. Well, I have now, but I hadn't seen one of these Tengen Gauntlet games before.
Next up is Stealth ATF. This, I'm gonna hazard a guess, is gonna be probably a top-down shooter.
Let me see.
Well, shmup.
Probably.
Which quite a few retro consoles typically tend to have, because
It's hardware limitation, so
yeah,
so shooters didn't tend to be 3D effects.
they were either top-down or
No, shmups.
yeah.
And it could be a great one, you don't know. One that I remember this title very fond. I don't know if it's the same one actually, but I remember the equivalent game on the Spectrum very, very fondly. This was the official Batman Michael Keaton film video game. If it's that one, the one on Spectrum was awesome. It was like platforming, it was racing, it was shooting. It was brilliant. I hope that this is the same one, except obviously it'll have much better graphics than the Spectrum had.
Next up is Star Wars. Now, there's been obviously quite a lot of Star Wars games out there. This one obviously being for the NES, but Star Wars games typically tend to cover a wide range of different games.
Star Wars really goes from some are really good, some are really bad. I don't know what that one's like.
Obviously, it's gonna. We'll find out when we get around.
Don't
to
think
trying
it's
it.
the arcade one, is it? It is like a new one. We've got a Data East game. This one is Turbo Racing, which I mean, it looks by the picture on the front as if it may be officially licensed, because the cars on there look to have proper liveries on and what have you. Now, I don't know if that's officially licensed F1 or IndyCar or what it is.
However, I am going to say something about the cartridge itself. That's actually, unlike most of them, it's actually got a golden sticker on the back for some reason.
I don't think that makes much difference.
I get that. I'm just wondering, obviously, when looking at it, why it's got.
Maybe just because Data East.
Yeah, potentially.
But I mean, I like racing games, and even retro racing games. So an 8-bit one doesn't faze me at all. I'll play that even if you don't.
Next up is Captain Skyhawk. I'm going to hazard a guess that it's going to be
It could be anything.
Or anything.
It could be a shmup. It could be an action arcade platformer.
Don't know obviously until we tried it.
Exactly.
So have to get that played a little bit.
I do know what this one is because I played the arcade game of it. This one is a Capcom beat 'em up. Seal of quality right there. It is Bionic Commando. I mean, Capcom beat 'em ups in the arcade at this time were absolutely smashing it, and there'll be a lot of people that remember very fondly Bionic Commando because it was one of the big titles in the arcades. No surprise at all that got a home port, and there it is, we've got it there.
Next up is WWF Wrestlemania Steel Cage Challenge. Now, obviously with this one, it is...
I had this back in the day when I had my original NES before I stupidly gave it away. It's not a good game. It's really not.
But then again...
I played the hell out of it.
It is obviously a wrestling game, but this time obviously with the stipulation of you can use the steel cage match, can't you?
So, but don't.
Yeah.
And I think, is this the last NES game?
It's the last NES game.
And this one is Doki Doki Panic, or as it's labelled up here in the West, Super Mario Brothers 2. I've never liked this game. Even back in the day, when it was released as a Mario game and we didn't know it was Doki Doki Panic, I knew it wasn't Mario. Because why was I picking up turnips and throwing them at things? I didn't understand why it wasn't Mario. I just knew that it wasn't.
I think a big part that also gives it away is you can't stomp on the enemy's head.
Well, there is that. I might go back to it and give it a go with fresh eyes. Maybe because I'm not expecting a Mario game from it. Maybe it'll be a little better to play this time. Don't know. But yeah, that's the Western Super Mario Brothers 2 or Doki Doki Panic as it actually is.
Now, we're coming obviously to the end of the haul now, but there is still one more thing, and it is again a new console month part. This is the Xbox Series S. Now, obviously, this is the all digital version of the most recent.
Well, it is, but there was method in the madness here, because the Series X is currently hooked up to the big 4K TV, so you can get this one in your bedroom, and we can even play multiplayer games against each other and what have you.
And obviously,
because this one doesn't need a 4K TV because it's not 4K.
No, but with it being all digital, it still means that, and obviously with it being the most recent type of
it's all digital, which is bad, but we do have Game Pass. So.
Yeah, so obviously with it, Game Pass being there, I think with it being something obviously for my bedroom, I think it could be something that really would be good. And as I said, can play multiplayer games that would be on Game Pass, which some games on there are online multiplayer only as well. So
well, we can play them against each other.
There you go.
Is that everything?
That is everything.
I don't think you did too badly.
No, I think I've done quite well.
I think as far as hauls go, that wasn't too bad at all. There's some good stuff there, and a really good mix of stuff from the current gen, all the way with the Series S, going all the way back to 8-bit stuff with the NES, which you got quite a lot of.
Yes.
Which I didn't realise how much you'd got. But that is it for now. Obviously, we've got New Year coming up, so probably once we get into January proper, we'll be out game hunting again, see what's there. But I can't imagine that you'll need too much because you've got a lot.
Not need too much because obviously got a lot of games which will need playing because they're not going to play themselves, are they?
That's very true. But that is it for this time. So until next time, if you haven't already,
give us a like, a share and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you're notified when we upload, and we will see you in the next video.